After what was widely hailed as a coordinated and extremely effective relief effort from the Trump administration in the aftermath of both Hurricanes Harvey and Irma, the fake news media and the destroy Trump at all cost resistance are trying to exploit the horrendous tragedy playing out in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria devastated the island. They are exploiting the tragedy because rather than rationally looking at the facts, they are simply trying to paint this as Trump's Katrina, as this Rolling Stone headline puts it. But it's actually even darker than that. The fake news and the alt-left literally want the world and the American public to believe that Donald Trump and the federal government are intentionally ignoring the devastation in Puerto Rico because Trump is a racist bigot, and since the people of Puerto Rico have no electoral votes, he just doesn't care. This is a myth, obviously, and it's one that needs busting with some facts. The situation on the ground is really horrible and also very fluid and changing constantly. The entire island has lost power, and if a recovery effort is not undertaken quickly, there will not only be a humanitarian crisis on the island, but also on the US mainland as well, as up to 1 million Puerto Ricans may simply give up hope on their island home and move to the mainland. And that's something every Puerto Rican is entitled to do, as they are US citizens. Early on, however, it appears that the folks on the ground are doing their best. FEMA Director Brock Long is on the island, and so are 10,000 other men and women who have already made it down to Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands to assist in the recovery efforts. And well, despite the efforts of the fake news, they are simply wrong on this story. So I am sorry, WashingtonPostVox.com and Rolling Stone magazine, but your disinformation campaign and allegations that this is Trump's Katrina simply does not line up with the facts from the ground. Puerto Rico's governor, Ricardo Rossello, told PBS, quote, "First of all, we are very grateful for the administration. They have responded quickly. The president has been very attentive to the situation, personally calling me several times. FEMA and the FEMA director have been here in Puerto Rico," unquote. Also, according to the Associated Press, Puerto Rico's non-voting representative in Washington, D.C., Jennifer Gonzalez, stated, quote, "This is the first time we get this type of federal coordination," unquote. So what's really going on here? Well, I think it's kind of simple. The press were so upset, so mad that Trump is right and winning on the issue of kneeling for the national anthems at National Football League games, that they just absolutely had to do what they could to paint him in a bad light. But it's also because the press are ignorant and refuse to look at things without emotion or bias. Puerto Rico is not Texas or Florida, and I don't mean that in a way that somehow they are less deserving of help. But the situation geographically and economically comes into play here. It's not that easy to get supplies and people onto an island operating without power, and whose main port in San Juan only just reopened in the past day or so. It's not like there's an interstate you can load up semi-trailers with supplies to drive down there. But also, Puerto Rico has been in a tremendously difficult financial situation in recent years. They essentially had to declare bankruptcy in May of this year. So it's important that the US government carefully decide the best way to rebuild the island, all while ensuring that the same problems as far as poor, easily destroyed infrastructure in hurricanes doesn't continue, and that the money that is given to the island is actually used to assist the people in the most dire situations. So while the fake news media was complaining and inventing the news surrounding the federal government's response, Trump was ramping up the amount of aid that they are sending to the island, and he's even making arrangements for himself to travel to Puerto Rico and survey the damage and support his fellow Americans on the island next Tuesday. But sometimes, I just think the dishonest media forget that President Trump is from New York City, home to over 1 million Puerto Ricans. So he cares about this, believe me. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Well, we've got an exciting new lineup of fall shows debuting in October here on the Rebel.media, and we want to give you an opportunity to get that premium content at a discount. So right now, if you sign up before Monday, October 2nd, we'll give you a deal. In fact, it'll only be about $69 to sign up. That's cheaper than a Netflix subscription for a year. So go check it out. We're going to have new shows from Tommy Robinson and my friend Sheila Gunn Reid, as well as a number of others. Check it out, the Rebel.media/shows.